Buongiorno everyone, welcome to day number 5 here in Vieste. And let me tell you something, it's been really a buongiorno, literally, because the riders are here at the beach since 2 hours, waiting for the wind to kick in. We're in standby and actually it's on. We're ready for Foilstyle to come up.
Absolutely, yeah, it's kicked in, the wind has shifted a bit. We've been up since the crack of dawn, you can see behind us in the glare that it's picking up. We had quite an offshore wind in the beginning.
Exactly.
And really at a crack of dawn, a very early one. Sandy's joined us. Sandy, it's even before dawn for you, isn't it?
Yes, due to the time difference, it is a little bit earlier here back in the UK. But I'm excited. We're here. You know, we got a taste of the action yesterday, and I'm really excited as we progress through into round 3 today. Some foil style firsts that we saw yesterday. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing some more of that today in the competition.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're ready for the action and we can't wait to kick off the upcoming semi-finals. So what do we have on the menu for today? Mr. Steven van Broekhoven versus Leonard Neubauer, Tim Curtis versus Jentel Kers. I mean, definitely some of the big names from yesterday completely standing out with their performance. And later on the day, we will have even some proper wind for some proper traditional freestyle.
Absolutely, yeah, it's going to be an exciting day. We're definitely looking forward to it. And here we see the forecast. So 20 knots of wind is expected in the gusts. You know, we're seeing outside very dark water. The wind readings we're getting from live wind readings are pretty high as well, getting close to that already.
Yes.
Up around the corner. And so as that thermal kicks in, more from the north, it's going to bend the wind around the headland, and you can see already some of those gusts are reaching us. So the warmer it gets, the more that will bend around the headland, and the more we'll get that sort of that true wind that's also coming in from the forecast. So there we see the guys heading out, getting outside to get that wind. It takes a bit of time to get through the shore break and through the light winds. Yeah, and so I think with that we'll take a look at some of the highlights from yesterday, because we'll see a bit of what we're expecting of today.
Exactly. Welcome to day number 4 here in Vieste, Italy. The morning started with a trip to downtown Vieste, where the tow-in finals commenced with the most epic of backdrops, Vieste Old Town. With all the riders starting slowly, stepping it up after every round, the door was wide and clearly open for everybody to taking the victory in the final rounds. Bodie Kempen was the first one to stop up, stomping an incredible double culo. With a light breeze, Kiri Toad was the next one climbing up the leaderboard with an incredible air scopo, dry until the very end. Jamie Howard was clearly inspired and executed also in perfection a very nice air scopo, which put him into the first place with only 4 riders remaining. But then it was Leonard Neubauer who executed also a scopo in perfection and showed the boys how it's done properly, with even adding an air funnel, which got him the victory of the day. With the tow-in completed, we headed back to Spiaggia Lunga because the wind was improving. The wind was starting to fill in and we could get the Foilstyle elimination on its way. It was very clear that the riders have been training a lot during winter, because all heats has been incredibly close with incredibly mastered skills. Steven van Broekhoven has been able to show off the first ever Kabikuchi in Foilstyle, while Leonard Neubauer added a crazy shifty with effortless elegance. Unfortunately, during the rest of the day, the wind backed off, but it gave us the opportunity to get some tasty finals for tomorrow. Steven versus Leonard and Jentel versus Tim coming up tomorrow. With an amazing forecast on the horizon for tomorrow, make sure to stay tuned and follow the live stream of tomorrow. Yeah, what an incredible day it has been yesterday, and today will be at least as exciting as yesterday. All right, let's have a look at the next heat matchup coming up. As just mentioned earlier, Steven van Broekhoven versus Leonard Neubauer. I mean, those have been two of the riders completely standing out yesterday with their creativity, with the style, didn't they, Sandy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really, really excited for this heat. As you said, Steven van Broekhoven and Leonard Neuer are two of the biggest names in the sport, but especially after their performances yesterday, this is a really tough one to call. Both of them are on fire, and taking a look at the camera there, you can really see the wind is definitely starting to pick up. The guys heading out, and there's a couple of waves out there, and I'm really excited to see if that brings a new dimension into the foil style. Hopefully some ramps. We already saw sort of shifties, these kind of bigger moves, back loops yesterday. Are we going to see them push it to new heights today? I definitely think so as we get into the start of this heat.
Oh yeah, and we could just hear the judges pulling the horn. So here we are, 10 minutes heat is on.
Yeah, opening with a nice culo there from Steven van Broekhoven. Still looking like a little bit light, definitely a bit gusty. Big shaka there from Leonard Neubauer. That is how you start heat. Both riders coming straight out of the gates there with some big moves. And that's what they wanted. As I said, it still does look a little bit gusty, but the clouds seem to have gone from yesterday. So, yeah, we should be getting that thermal wind as the day starts to warm up. And speaking of warming up, there's the first move of the day, culo, and there. So that's what I was just saying. So we're starting to see these ramps coming through. Leonard Neubauer using it there for that shaka, almost like an air shaka. Board's definitely most of the way around the 360 by the time he comes down. That really sort of nose down style that we love to see. Leonard Neubauer, I think, in switch there. So Leonard Neubauer ducking the sail now. What's he got for us? Just a nice little burner. He's building the house. He's warming up. Steven van Broekhoven jibing around. Potentially he's seen a ramp. He's always one of the riders that does the back loop on the foil. And let's see if he can bring that into the heat. Looks like he's heading towards something. But is he going to have enough power for it? It's always crazy, the drone angle, isn't it, Greta? It doesn't look like there's any wind at all. These guys are absolutely flying.
Yeah,
just sending all the
completely.
moves. It's great to see.
I mean, drone is always difficult. Because from above, it always looks flatter than it is. It looks less windy than it actually is. But, I turn around, I look out, and I can clearly see those ramps. I mean, we could also see in the beginning when the two guys went out, we could really see those little ramps. There's actually a little shore break also here in the beginning. So something has clearly changed compared to the rest, to the last days. Like the direction a little bit, and definitely the strength of the wind. So, no, we're excited.
100%. Steven van Broekhoven there with a huge back loop. Definitely using those ramps, and Leonard Neubauer answers with a Pasco of his own. So yeah, these guys already putting down some big scores. It does look a little bit, up and down with the wind, but certainly with the ramps today, I think we're already seeing a new dimension being added to this, and I, for one, I'm really excited, and hopefully those ramps hold throughout the day as well as the wind picks up. It's going to lead to some pretty radical action as we see Leonard Neubauer stepping into switch. So he's already done the burner, so I think we're probably going to see the air funnel now. Both riders yet to get their hair wet, and yeah, they're starting to fill their score sheet. So you can see Leonard Neubauer actually went 16.94, but I think we might still be waiting for the scores to drop. But yeah, I think that back loop for Steven coming in at 5.66 as we see him ducking in regular. And he wanted the Kabakuchi again, but just got the Kono. Leonard Neubauer goes down on an air funnel there.
I mean, we could clearly see from that angle that we just had a minute ago from the video, actually, that there are quite some ramps and actually bigger waves than during the past days. So, I mean, these are actually conditions that Leonard is pretty used to, because it's similar to his home spot in Greece versus Steven, for sure, who is more used to flat water. But, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It depends a little bit what they're going to do in their own favor to get those ramps and pull off higher maneuvers for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting one. I'd be interested to know how much these guys have trained kind of foil style in the waves and things, because obviously it is a completely different feeling. I know Leonard's home spot. Oh, huge shifty there from Leonard Neubauer. So much control in the air. That was sick. Yeah, really utilizing those ramps, like you said, Greta. Steven looking like, potentially he's got a bit of a battle on his hands here with Leonard Neubauer.
Definitely.
Who, Last year when Leonard entered the foil style, I think he hadn't done it that much, and I think people kind of counted him out, but I think he's been spending a lot of time over the last year getting into it, obviously knowing these events are going to be, coming up more and more. Steven going down, ducking the sail there. Looked like he was a bit, unsettled there, his foil in the water. So yeah, bouncing around like a bucking bronco, and it knocks him down.
Went down with the nose of the board somehow a little bit. Yeah, I mean, talking to Steven the other day on the beach, he was pretty clear about Foilstyle. It was the discipline that he was training the most during the past month, so he's really focusing on that. And I mean, we could clearly see that yesterday. He pulled up some incredible moves, the first Kabikuchi actually ever seen on Foilstyle, and he looked so solid, he looked so comfy, so relaxed, so solid, and he was definitely standing out. And I mean, this is definitely a battle of the titans going on here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. These are two of the biggest names in the sport, and yeah, Steven putting all that time in, Lennart also putting a lot of his own time in after last year, and I think it's being shown. I mean, look at Lennart Neubauer's heat score, 27.98. That's the highest heat score we've seen in the Foilstyle so far. We didn't see that yesterday at all. So showing that definitely, obviously, it's 3 moves to count. It's worth mentioning. Yesterday it was 2 moves to count, so that's why we're seeing these higher heat scores. But I mean, with all the repertoire that these guys have got, all the different moves these guys have got, I think it's definitely valuable that the judges have put it up to those 3 moves, because otherwise these guys are kind of doing moves for no reason. You can see Lennart kind of using the waves there to pick up an extra bit of speed as he ducks the sail, but it does not work this time for him. He goes down.
All right, so we have 4.5 minutes to go. Yeah, I mean, as you just said, Lennart is still 28.26 ahead versus Steven with 21.5. Oh, there's something moving at the scores, 20.6. So yeah, it is still a tight one, still 4 minutes to go. Everything is still open. Let's see.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I don't think they haven't actually filled their heat scores yet. I think that's why Steven's score is quite a bit lower. I think he's only got two moves on port, 2 moves on starboard. Obviously, as I said, it's 3 moves to count. So whatever he's going to try and do here, he crashed his last run. Let's see what he's got. I think he probably wants the air funnel, potentially. I think he's already done the burner. As we see him duck sail, what's he got for us? Stabilizing there, but just doesn't have the speed. So he will just jibe round instead. But he's still got another move on port tack to do. I think we've had the back loop and the Pasco, so maybe a big shaka, maybe even a shifty of his own. I know we've seen quite a few of the guys doing the shifties on the foil, but Lennart definitely seems to be leading the charge in terms of, as we see him ducking the sail, just gets the switch Kono, so will potentially add some points, but I don't know if that'll change. He's already filled his sheet on starboard tack.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, actually now he's looking quite speedy out there. So it means like that on the outside, I mean, as usually, obviously, we have a bit more of wind, a bit more stable than coming on the inside. I mean, obviously, in front of the beach, the wind is way lighter, as you can expect.
Yeah, and it's really interesting there, as you say that, Greta. Steven, nice Scopu there, really nice. That's one of the best foil Scopus I've seen. So clean there, and basically coming round, pumping straight up onto the foil, right in front of Lennart as well. But we saw that from Steven there, choosing to jibe round, stay in switch, and then duck the sail a bit further out, like you said, Greta, because there's a bit less wind on the inside. So potentially the tactics he was using yesterday have come closer into the beach, so that you do it right in front of the judges. But actually, it's better to have plenty of wind. Lennart Neubauer going Gazada on the foil there. So much control. So he's going to go for that puñeta. Let's see if he can pull it out. Just run out of speed a bit. I mean, that's crazy, the amount of control he's got to be able to stay up on the foil in that position. So difficult there.
Yeah, very difficult, and I mean very creative.
Yeah, so while we were watching Lennart there, Steven with a nice foil shaka as well. So you can see there he has now filled his score sheet as well. So he's closing in on Lennart Neubauer, but Lennart Neubauer now up to 30.57. So yeah.
Oh my God.
The scores these guys are putting down. Yeah, so
incredible.
It's still a battle for Steven. But yeah, Steven doesn't seem to be on the form. If he can do the Kabikuchi, then potentially I think he could look to overtake. But his starboard score is already quite high. Lennart Neubauer, actually, his starboard score really needs some improvement, 9.99. So potentially I think he's missing a move still even. Wow, big culo there from Steven, but goes down at the end. Just overcooked it a bit.
All right, and we are in the last minute of the heat. I mean, everything is still possible, but I believe Leonard is still with a little lead ahead. I mean, it's a very tight one. It is a very tight one. They're both incredible sailors, very, very skilled. And yeah, but I think, let's see. We're going into the last 45 seconds of this heat.
Yeah, last 45 seconds, and it looks like this is Leonard Neubauer's to take. I mean, Steven van Broekhoven also putting in a really impressive heat, but Leonard just seems to be in a world of his own as we see him go for his own Skopu.
Oh, nice
that
Skopu.
was sick.
Very nice one.
I think that sealed the deal. Steven coming around a Pasco of his own. That was a much cleaner one than he did last time, so that will improve his score as well. Let's see this Skopu again. Oh, air Skopu almost.
Beautiful. Very beautiful one. Oh, yes.
And Leonard going...
Leonard
landing
going
a back
down.
loop, but really wet.
Steven coming on the inside and switch. Oh! And we just hear the horn going off. Means that the last trick was actually valid, I believe, right? All right, that was it for heat Leonard versus Steven. And Leonard will take the lead. I mean, in the end, it's been a very, very tight one. They both have pulled off an incredible show. Shout out also to Steven, obviously, but in the end, Leonard was definitely a little bit ahead with 33.57 versus 29.98. So it will be Leonard advancing into the final.
Yeah, absolutely. And taking a look at that score sheet there, look at the amount of Pascos that Steven did on port tack. I think he just couldn't quite find his rhythm with that move. So kind of spent a lot of time trying to improve his score on that one. And he eventually did, but right at the end of the heat. So, it's just frustrating for him, that port tack score just kind of let him down a little bit. But still a really, really impressive performance. And I think it's definitely a sign of where this is going. But I mean, just Leonard Neubauer on fire.
Yeah.
Finishing with that air Skopu.
Beautiful. Very, very beautiful heat. Very close one. That's what we want to see. Exciting heats, where they're really head on head.
Yeah, 100%. It's great. It's great to see the progression that we're seeing and all the athletes taking this so seriously. Look at that shifty there from Leonard Neubauer. Wow, that's such a sick angle. Like the level of, this even compared to last year, like I said the other day, I'm already so this looks like in another year. I think it's just going to look more and more radical. Even the Skopus that both of them did look completely different to foil Skopus I've seen before. Often they kind of can't quite pull the board down and they always finish quite slow. I mean, look at this; it's like an air Skopu. You could Photoshop a fin under that board and you'd never know the difference. And I think that's what makes a really, really big change and why we're starting to see the foil style really looking different now, is because it's starting to look like fin freestyle. Whereas potentially last year you could kind of notice the difference a bit, and I think that's really impressive. But we are moving on, Greta. We are into the next heat, and it is Tim Gelders up against Jentel Kers. Who's your money on, Greta? Talk me through it.
I mean, Tim is definitely one of the young talents from Brouwerstam. I mean, we keep repeating that he's one of these... just one of these upcoming youngsters, actually doing all disciplines, being very, very strong in all of them, training a lot, traveling a lot with the other Brouwerstam boys. And then we have obviously Jentel, a name that doesn't need any introduction. He's definitely one of the Foilstyle ambassadors, has been on the discipline since the very beginning. And it's a really tight one as well. But I have to say my card here is on Jentel.
Yeah,
what about you, Sandy?
He's wearing the yellow jersey.
Exactly,
well, Jentel's
for a
wearing
reason.
the yellow jersey. It's hard to count him out. But I mean, like you said, Tim was in this early, and I think he really surprised everyone last year. And I think he's one of those ones that he needs to be taken seriously. He's a serious title contender for this foil style. As we see Jentel Kers there, just sort of, dipping in on the duck. Didn't manage to get the move he wanted. Tim. Nice burner there, but he will go down as well. Gets the clue caught, doesn't quite manage to open the sail out. So not the best start for either rider, but in a way that's nice for us because it keeps it close, keeps it even, keeps it exciting. Let's see.
Oof! Went down just at the end.
Pasco there for Jentel. Yeah,
went also
just goes
down at the very end.
Will water start out. Yeah.
I mean, during the past weeks, we have also seen incredible videos from Yentl training a lot in Lake Como, his second home base now, and he's absolutely loving the foil style. He's just loving it. And I mean, he's a very, very creative rider with an amazing style. And yeah, can't wait to see what he's going to show us now in this heat, actually.
100%. Yeah, it's been great seeing it. And, ultimately chatting to Yentl and the other guys, the most important thing they say about it is it just increases your time on the water. Really interesting there, just that shot as we were talking, watching Tim there going for that Pasco, but he goes down. He tried it a run just earlier on in the run. He kind of compressed to go and take off, but I think just mistimed it with the chop slightly. And that's potentially down to, what we were saying at the beginning of like, trying to do the foil style in these kind of choppy, wavy conditions. It's potentially sort of conditions that these guys haven't trained in that much, and I think that potentially may be showing as to why the guys are struggling. It looks like the wind has picked up. Looks like they've got plenty of power, but the water state. I mean, looking at that, it's so choppy. There's some waves, so bringing a whole new dimension. And I wonder where, like I said, where are we going to be in a year's time when these guys go right? Let's start taking these foils into the waves a little bit more and see what happens.
That sounds exciting. That sounds very exciting, Sandy. Yeah. And I mean, also here, I think it's important to mention one more time how important it is to have a proper landing here. I mean, the riders kept repeating and explaining during the past days how important it is to really land on the board above the foil, because as soon as you go a little bit sideways with the foil, obviously having the impact going through the water, it is very, very crucial actually to have a proper landing here.
Yeah, 100%. It's the same with the toe in yesterday. It's what the judges are really looking for, is kind of landing it clean. Yentl going down on a back loop as well. Bit out of character, both of these riders. Maybe they're not early birds. They don't do well in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to say that. I mean, I think it seems like that they're not really warmed up yet, both of them. I mean, Yentl, to be honest, sailing in Lake Como, he is actually an early birdie, because also there you have the morning winds, and it's in the morning where it's strong. So he's actually used to an early alarm clock. But yeah, let's see. I think they're just getting warmed up,
Yeah, I think so. I think, they're just getting into it, and it's kind of nice in a way that both of them are struggling a little bit. It's always like it'd be hard to see, one of these riders, because we know how talented both of them are, and we know the skills that both of them have. So yeah, it'd be a shame for one of them to be kind of struggling a little bit. As we see Tim going for that Pasco, looking like he was really struggling for power there. That looked like he really tried to force it. Usually those Pascos taking off right into the wind, and you get that initial whip. And there he didn't seem to get it, kind of just sort of floated round. And obviously that first half of the rotation in a Pasco, you need to get round that bit really quickly so that you come round the kind of 540 degrees so that you can finish the move off. Yeah, both of these riders struggling, especially given the last heat. These two both have the same skills as Leonard Neubauer and Steven van Broekhoven, but yeah, just both seem to be a little bit out of rhythm this morning. So yeah, bit of a slower heat, but again, it may just be down to conditions. It won't really put the time in these kind of choppier conditions. We're getting to halfway through this heat, and Tim has yet to put a move down. So yeah,
exactly.
A bit frustrating. The mindset's going to start kicking in now. You're going to start doubting yourself a bit, and I think that's going to start leading to a bit of frustration. So hopefully they can keep level heads, hit the reset button, put the head under the water for a second, and then get yourself around some moves.
Exactly.
I mean,
as you say,
nice Pasco.
I mean, as you say, it's for sure different conditions than they're used to. Maybe they also didn't have their coffee in yet. Who knows? But still, 5 minutes to go. And yeah, hopefully they can keep their minds calm, and pull off the show as of now. Yentl coming in and switch on the inside. Let's see what we get next.
Yeah, duck in the sail. What's he got for us? Really powerful burner there, but
yes,
goes down a little bit at the end.
Oh.
Tim answering with a really nice burner of his own. There we go, finding the form. There, that's
getting into it. Here we go, boys. All right,
absolutely,
maybe this was now
starting to build the house.
Exactly. Maybe this was now the game-changing move. Once you pull off one, then you're fine and you can just keep going.
Absolutely, yeah. You start to hit the
Shack
reset
on the outside
button,
from Yentl.
Really nice shaka there from Yentl. That style we've been talking about, you know, the board going so far around the rotation before they come down and land, almost like air shaka style. Yeah, hopefully that move has changed it for them a little bit. They're going to start feeling better. Tim ducking in regular, and he will jump round a nice cool. The boys are starting to warm up now, fill in the score sheets. Oh, big crash there from Yentl, but he manages to save it. Goes down.
Yeah, and maybe it's also interesting to mention that obviously the Foilstyle gear, you can see the boards are quite short and compact to compared to other foil boards, especially compared to slalom boards, for example. So obviously it's also tricky to handle the gear.
Exactly, yeah, it's a whole lot more gear to it is a whole lot more gear to handle, you know, having that big foil under your board. But it also, the foil will affect the way that moves are done. You know, like a burner on a foil will feel different to a burner with a fin because you do have that kind of swing weight. Of course, the foils are all carbon and they're super light, but it will still add a bit of a different dimension and it will make things feel different. But yeah, Yentl cares ducking. He'll jump round a little air funnel there. Again, they're just kind of getting stuck at the end of every move. You know, you're definitely not on usual form. Tim got loads of speed here, taking his time ducking the sail. And he wants that Skopu, and he will sail away from it.
Nice
really
one.
Nice Skopu there from Tim.
Very nice Skopu on the inside. Beautiful one.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just waiting on some
Seems
scores
like-
to drop. But yeah,
Seems like the boys are not wasting any time now. They know it. They know that they have to deliver, and now they're not wasting any minute anymore.
yeah, 100%. I mean, basically, the entire heat score of this has happened in the last 2 minutes. You know,
Yes.
I don't think they really, especially Tim. Tim hadn't put a score down until like there was only 4.5 minutes left. So yeah, these guys are working fast. And now also, you know, the pressure is on Tim. Yentl's put down a nice heat score, but there's no reason why Tim can't move the needle and get himself up into first. But he goes down on that Pasco. That Pasco, yet again, last year it was the real point of difference between Yentl and the rest of the. And then this year as well, it is still proving to be a key move to have in your bag of tricks when it comes to the foil style.
Definitely. As we can see, Yentl coming on the inside. In switch, ducking the sail, and what do we get? Oh, another nice scope. But went down.
Yeah, almost went a bit too big there, you know, as he kind of sheeted in and tried to bring the board back down underneath him, you know, threw the sail too far into the wind. I think he kind of just went a bit off axis and went down. So yeah, frustrating one for Yentl Cares there, you know, especially seeing Tim do one and the guys in the previous heat as well. And there's the air funnel from Tim, but again gets caught, goes down. That would have been a big move. But Tim actually needs to put some work in. I mean, neither of these guys have filled their score sheet yet, but Tim needs to put some work in on port tack. He's only got that culo that he did earlier. And that was a really nice culo, but yeah, he needs to land that Pasco really in order to put himself in contention for this heat.
Oh, and then we see actually on the outside a nice Becky from Yentl. I mean, went down at the very end. But still a nice one. Yeah. Let's have a look at the
Almost
replay.
like a push loop.
Push loop, yeah, exactly. Went into push loop. All right, and I think we are on the last minute of that heat. Last minute of the heat coming up. Actually, last 20 seconds of the heat. So far, Yentl is quite ahead with 20.4 and versus Tim with 14.8. Yeah, I think more or less that will be it. Oh, Tim having a gnarly crash on the outside, actually. Oof. And Yentl also going off on the inside. All right, that was it. End of the heat. And Yentl will be heading into today's final versus Leonard Neubauer. Oh my God, that's not a very surprising one, to be honest. Feels like we're having a déjà vu, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it will be Yentl going up against Leonard Neubauer in the winners' final. Steven van Broekhoven and Tim Gerdes will be battling out for the third position for the Foilstyle here in Vieste. So yeah, taking a look again, I mean, he's kind of a mirror of Steven, you know, and Tim's scores on the port tack side, you know, just trying endless amount of Pascos. You know, it's just difficult to try and get that move nailed in. Yeah, just had a bit of a struggle. Yeah, this is not a classic score sheet that we're used to seeing from these two riders.
No, definitely not. I mean, I hope for Yentl that he got the chance now to warm up, because the next one will be a very, very tough one versus Leonard. So, yeah, let's see. He's indicating something. Not sure what he means. But we're getting
Yeah,
ready
I mean,
for the
he
next
obviously,
one.
yeah, he obviously won the heat. But yeah, he definitely still doesn't look happy. Yento, I think he's, he obviously holds himself to quite a high standard for good reason. So yeah, he's probably not too happy with his performance in that heat, despite the fact that he got through and he's in the final. But he probably knows he needs to go in, maybe kind of hit the reset button a little bit, because watching what Leonard Neubauer was doing in the heat before, he's going to need to really step up in order to be able to be in with a chance to be on the top of the podium.
Definitely. And I mean, Yentl won here last year, the Foilstyle, so he definitely want to replicate that, that's for sure. So I'm sure he will do everything now to repeat that.
100%. Taking a look at some of the replays here, bit of a slower heat. Tim just not managing to get that passcode nailed down. And again, Yentl bit, not exactly in the usual rhythm that we see him in. Took him a while to kind of find his feet, get his sea legs, shall we say. But once he did, look at that burner, huge burner. But again, just like you said, Greta, the landings are so important. And these guys were kind of not necessarily landing right over the middle of the board. Tim with a really nice burner there. But yeah, all the guys both riders kind of struggling a little bit in this heat.
Yeah, it just seemed like that they didn't find the usual form, let's say. They didn't get to the level they usually are, but maybe it really is due to the fact that the choppy water, the little ramps, I mean, obviously it's making it more difficult, and they're usually training a lot into in complete flat waters. I mean, Jentl in Lake Como and obviously Tim in Brouwersdam. So maybe it just made it trickier for the both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it is just different conditions. It does look like the wind has picked up a little bit since yesterday. Does look like the wind conditions have picked up a little bit, and I wonder what the what those are going to mean for some of these riders. I think we are potentially having a bit of a heat break before we go into the finals. But yeah, it looks like the wind is going to be picking up throughout the day as well, as that thermal wind. As you can see, there are a few clouds around inland, but taking a look at the forecast and everything here in Vieste, I do think that we are going to be in for a day full of action, and hopefully we're going to be able to get everyone out on the fins as well. The forecast is saying up to kind of 19, 20 knots. And we are going to head down to the beach with Greta.
Jentl, first of all, congratulations for winning the heat. You advanced into the final. What happened out there? Please tell us through the conditions.
Oh, that was a struggle. It's a long time I sailed this shitty heat, but as Tim also sailed a quite shitty heat, it shows how tricky it was. The wind is strong, it's good for foiling, but it comes like the really strong offshore gust that you just don't expect and you don't know where to go. But now I felt it out, so let's go for the final full power.
Okay, sounds good. And how tricky was it with the chop out there and the little ramps actually?
The ramps make it fun. We can do some jumping moves and stuff, but I was just struggling with the wind. Now it's time to focus and go.
On which sail size have you been?
I'm on 4.8. It's good, but I go in the water now.
Good luck.
All right, interesting to hear from Mr. Yentl Cares there. Sorry for the colourful language. This is a family show after all, but passions are high. And now he will be going up against Leonard Neubauer in the winners final. So taking a look at some of these heat stats here. Again, Jentl's kind of got this one on paper. But looking at the performances from this morning so far, I think Leonard Neubauer, definitely was on better form. Yentl there acknowledging that he didn't have a very good heat, and dare I say, got lucky. Thankfully, if he'd come up against Tim, who was in form, I think he'd have struggled a lot more. But yeah, both of them really struggling with the conditions there. But yeah, this is going to be a really exciting one. I mean, realistically, I've got to put my money on Lennart. Judging by the performances this morning, Lennart just seems to be in the zone at the moment. He's put a lot of time in on the foil. That shifty is a real point of difference. Last year, it was all about the Pasco, and I think that definitely still is making a difference. But I mean, if you can whip out a shifty as well, the judges are really going to like that. And Lennart, all of the shifties he's been doing, he's been landing so clean, and that combined with the air Skopu on starboard tack, they seem to have unlocked the Skopu technique for the foils this morning. Both him and Steven van Broekhoven putting really, really nice ones out there in their heats. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see whether they can pull that out. So we are going to be running the winners final first, which is Leonard Neubauer up against Yentl Kers, which you can see on the screen. And then we don't like to call it the losers final, but we call it the small final. So that is essentially the battle for third place. And that will be Steven van Broekhoven up against the young Brouwersdam Ripper Tim Gerdes.
Exactly.
So yeah, that is how it's going to go.
I mean, just
Greta,
talking to
some colourful
Yentl.
language there from... Yeah.
I mean, just talking to Yentl, he definitely said he figured out via the end of his heat what's going on, how to deal with the wind coming from the other side, being full on, whatever. And I mean, Yentl wouldn't be Yentl if he wouldn't be able to pull up a big show at the end. Yentl is usually also very performing with pressure. And it's not the same time that he would pull off his major show in the last moment, He's usually one of those guys being really there on point when it's needed. So, yeah, I mean, very, very exciting final coming up. Leonard versus Yentl. It's been something that we've seen already before. And, yeah, let's see if Yentl can just replicate his victory from last year, or if Leonard actually, is just a little bit ahead now. Let's see. Let's see what is coming up now.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is going to be a really interesting one. Yentl, obviously, he's the reigning champion. We can't take anything away from him. But Lennart seems to have just taken everything to a new level over the last year, with the foil style, just with windsurfing in general, watching him sailing in Cape Town this year on the fin as well. Like it was one of those things everyone kind of stops. And what's he doing? And I think we saw the same thing on social media over the last few months after his trip to Bonaire, and putting all these crazy videos up of him doing all these moves on the foil that we haven't seen done on the foil yet, from the air bobs, the shifties, everything, and just everything looking so in control. And like you've made a real point of this morning, Greta, is the landings. Everything being landed super clean.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, let's take a little look at some of the replays of the moves in the last couple of heats from both of these riders and what we've got coming up. So yeah, I mean, that shifty there, just so in control, just sheets in, keeps going. Like no one else has done that. It's such a point of difference. It does seem like that whichever rider has this like kind of move that no one else is doing, they always seem to perform really well. We've said it already. Last year it was Yentl with the Pasco, and this year it seems like it's Lennart with the shifty. There's that air Skopu as well. That looks completely different to the foil Skopus we've been seeing before. Pasco there,
taking it up to a new level.
Literally, yeah, exactly. And if they have that point of difference, it does seem to put them ahead of the rest of the pack. You can see there Yentl going down on his own air Skopu. Didn't quite manage to get that rotation, kind of sheeted in, starting to get back over the boom, but kind of went back the other way rather than coming round and through the wind to land. So yeah, difficult one there.
I mean, talking to Yentl yesterday, he said one of the most amazing things about Foilstyle for him is definitely pushing something new. It's a new discipline, new tricks, new moves, really creating actually a new part of windsurfing history, and especially inspiring so many young riders and new riders getting into this discipline. So this is already like one of his main goals, which he definitely achieved already during the past year. I mean, so many guys and young riders and other people actually just getting inspired over and over by his moves, by his tricks, and being one of the foil ambassadors. I would definitely say he did already a very, very good job on that.
100%. You know, we are still such, you know, early days with this discipline. You know, last year was the first event where we had the wind to be able to run the foil style, and that was here in Vieste as well. So you know, it's still, we're only kind of one event in. This is the second event we've done where we've had the conditions to run the foil style. So like I keep saying, you know, I'm very excited to see where this is in a couple of years, and it's definitely something exciting. And I think if, you know, riders of the caliber of like Steven van Broekhoven, you know, Jento, Lennart, if these guys are all getting excited about it, I think it's definitely worth any freestylers at home thinking about it, to get out there. And Jento said that the other day, didn't he? He said, you know, when we were talking about the gear, you know, it can be very easy to look and think, God, it's more gear, and I need another board, and do I need special sails, and do I need this and this? And as Jento said, he was like, no, most freestyle boards now have a fin box that you can attach a foil onto. So you can just chuck a foil into that, and it shouldn't affect the performance that much, you know, whereas a dedicated foil board. And then he uses his normal freestyle sails. You know, he said some brands, obviously, you know, Severn obviously have the Foil Freak. They have a specific board, specific sail, sorry, for foiling. But you can still absolutely just use freestyle sails, and they actually work really well for foiling in general, because of the kind of on and off nature of the power. So it's an interesting one, and I think people should definitely get more into it. You can see the boys out there having a little play around before the start of the heat.
And I mean, what we also need to consider is that, especially in Europe, where you get so many lakes with light winds, thermic winds, it would be definitely worth it. You know, it gives you just so much more water time, what everybody keeps saying, so much more water time, so much more sessions. And I think in the end, it would be totally worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, the boys said it as well. All it does is increase water time. All it does is get people out there on the water for, you know, for more time on the water, and ultimately that's what it's about.
That's what it's about, and that's what in the end everybody's longing for, you know? Everybody wants to have more water time. All right. Said this, we got the horn. Last seconds before going into this final.
Exactly, yeah. I think we are back into the countdown now. So we are looking at Jento Cares on screen now on the kind of purple pink and purple Neo Pride sail. Lennart Neubauer on the black and white Severn, as you can see there. So yeah, Jento in the yellow jersey, Lennart Neubauer in the red-orange jersey. As we said yesterday, I'm surprised Lennart can see through his sail for the amount of stickers he's got on that thing. He is one sponsored man.
Definitely. All right, it's getting exciting, guys. Make yourself comfy with a coffee, because we are having the Foilstyle final coming up. If you're just tuning in now, Mr. Lennart Neubauer versus Jento Cares coming up for the Foilstyle final. So yeah, both of them having amazing stats, but obviously Jento is wearing the yellow lycra, winner of last year, and he won the event also here last year in Vieste, so he definitely is hot for replicating that.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be looking to just repeat what happened last year, but I think he's got much more of a fight on his hands this year compared to last year. You know, all the other guys are so in tune with the foil style. You know, Jento a real pioneer in this, to be honest. Obviously, you know, Bals Muller, we have to mention him. You know, why he's not here, I don't know. Bals, where are you? We miss you. Come and play on the foils with us. But you know, Bals really pioneering it. But I think Jento definitely a part of that conversation as well. You know, one of the early adopters of this discipline of the sport. But you know, in the last year since that event, all the other riders have definitely caught up. So yeah, much more of a battle on his hands this year with Lennart Neubauer than we saw last year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, agree. They definitely all raised their skills, put Foilstyle already during the past year to a complete new level. And I mean, it's not going to be easy for Jento, that's for sure, but that's also what we want to see, a tough battle, you know, a very close battle. That's what's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it all the more in for us.
All right, the boys cruising, warming up for their heat. I mean, they are both already warmed up due to the previous semifinals. Yeah, beautiful drone shot
So, yeah,
of the
we've got-
Bay of Vieste in the early morning with not yet many people on the water because this bay here is a water sports paradise. And yeah, good for the guys. They have it all for their own at the moment. And here we go. The heat is on. 10 minutes are on. Leonard Neubauer versus Yentl Kers. Foilstyle final here in beautiful Vieste.
And that's how you start a heat. So straight in there, Yentl looking to make a bit of a statement, try and improve on his performance in the last heat. He knows he's really got to try and pull everything out. Big shaka there from Leonard Neubauer. Really, really nice. So yeah, there we go. That's what we wanted. That's a bit of a better opening for Yentl Kers there. You know, sometimes we've talked about this a lot. You know, it really is about that first move that really can sort of set the tone for a heat.
Woo!
And a nice
Yeah.
Pasco as well.
Oh, yes. I
Really
mean,
nice
those
basket
guys,
there.
they know that they have to answer each other straight away with a move, and they're not going to give anything to the other guy in these heats. I mean, at the beach, yes, we're all friends, we're all community, but right now it's really about the victory. So, no jokes in there.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, you know, it's soon as they get out on the water, it's every rider for themselves. And yeah, definite improvement there. Yentl Kers already with a heat score of 8.81. You know, in the last heat, I don't think they started until about 4.5 minutes left of the heat before any heat scores were put down. So yeah, moving a lot faster in this one. Leonard Neubauer just with that shaka coming in at a 4.94, so really high individual scores for the moves. As we see him stepping into switch, going to be utilizing those waves, those bits of chop to really kind of pick up a bit of speed. Let's see what he's got for us. I think usually the burner tends to be the opening move. Both riders ducking at the same time. Big burner from Yentl. Leonard Neubauer getting a bit stuck trying to duck the sail, so we'll just jibe round. But huge burner there from Yentl Kers. Almost stayed on the foil and kept going.
Oh, yes. We're going on. Exciting start already. Definitely a better heat for Yentl already now than before. Nice shaka on the outside there. Very nice one. He had a lot of pop there. Very high.
Yeah, like again using the ramps, you know, using those waves, you know, definitely putting together something good. And there's the Pasco from Leonard Neubauer again. Oh, it gets a bit stuck. I called it a bit early. He will go down. So not quite sticking. Yentl Kers heat score already of 22.4. He's going into this meaning business. And he will pop himself round a little Scopu there.
You see, this is exactly what I meant. He was a little bit, not 100% Yentl, let's say, in the heat before. Now he knows it's now or never, and here we have the Yentl, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know, the sportsman that he is, you know, having that bad thing and being able to just learn from those mistakes so quickly and adapt, you know, I think it's just a sign of his talent, both as, you know, of course, a physical competitor, but in terms of like the mindset, you know, Yentl's not the most vocal about it and things like that. Obviously, Leonard talks about it a lot. But I think it's definitely there with Yentl as well. You know, he definitely thinks about this stuff, analyzes what he's done, and he's very, very quick to learn from his mistakes. And I think that's the sign of a champion at the end of the day.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, this is what we've been talking yesterday. In the end, it's about transforming pressure into something positive.
Love that. Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's definitely what happened in the last heat there compared to this one. Leonard Neubauer looking like he's really struggling in this heat. So interesting how you can just switch it up completely. You know, Yentl having such a difficult time previous heat, and now he just seems to be stringing it together really nicely. And then on the other side, Leonard's kind of having the opposite. But still, you know, just under 6 minutes left to go. You know, we saw it from the last heat. It's still anyone's game. And there's the shift. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Fully planing shifty on the foil from Leonard Neubauer. Oh,
and there he
so
goes.
sick.
That one was very beautiful. Perfectly landed and just continued. Wow. That's really not easy.
Let's see. I want to see it. I got to see this again. Look at the speed.
And there
Just
we
keeps
go.
going.
1,
Oh,
2 pumps and he's off. Wow.
Oh, that was one of the sickest ones I've seen. That was crazy. I'm really excited to see the scores there on that one. Yentoker's going down on a back loop there. Oh, that's going to really make a difference. That's going to bring him right up into contention. Yeah, look, the port tack score has gone right up for Leonard Neubauer. And there's the air funnel there, building a bit of confidence with that shifty, I think. So that's going to increase his starboard score and bring him right up in line with the Entoker's score there. As you can see, not much difference, 18.39. And there it is, jumps up to 21.72.
They're
So,
on
yeah,
each
only a
other's
point.
heels. Oh my God, only a point of difference.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Yeah, not even. Okay, so we have less than 5 minutes to go, means we're half through the heat, and the guys are pulling off a show and making it excited for everyone here at the beach, and obviously also for you spectators at home. Oh my God. Everything is still possible.
Yeah, so that shifty by itself for Leonard Neubauer coming in at 8.66. So yeah, all Leonard really needs to do now, if he can get that Pasco on port tack, and there it is. He kind of goes down a little bit, but it looks like he'll sail away. Not the best landing, but yeah.
How was he even
So he
able to
will add
water
to his
start
score.
from that?
I mean,
I
have
mean-
no clue. Well, yeah.
That shifty was definitely the game changer of the heat for him, I think.
Oh. Yeah, and it's put him up into, if you look at, he actually now has the lead, 25.3 points. Yentl cares 22.92. As we see, Yentl really wants this back loop. You see his back foot came out straight away. Board kind of does a full lazy Susan willy skipper around. You know, you've got to be careful with that foil.
Yeah, to don't land on the foil. This is what we don't want to see. Definitely not. All right, 3.5 more minutes on the screen. Cruising Leonard coming on the inside. I mean, 3 points of difference. Everything is still possible. Let's see what we get next.
Literally everything has changed in the last like two and a bit minutes. You know, I do enjoy these kind of slightly longer heats. It just gives a little bit more room for things to happen. As we see Leonard Neubauer in at switch, what's he got for us? 25.3 points, so still currently leading. Yeah, his starboard score, he is missing a move. So yeah, he needs to add something here. Is he going to go for the Skopu? Yes, he is.
Yes,
and
he
there
is.
it is, super clean. Really nice one there. Yeah, bit bigger than Yentl's one. You know, Yentl just sort of managed to get himself around one, but both of them not quite managing to do the air scopus that we saw in the last heat, but, you know, putting points on the board, and that's now given Lennart a pretty clear lead, 29.56 over Yentl Cares 22.92. So, yeah, I'm not saying he can sit back and relax, because you never can when you're up against Yentl. But, yeah, you know, Leonard Neubauer can definitely... you know, be pretty pleased with his performance. Like starboard is definitely where he needs the improvement, you know, but he could also go for that Pasco. You know, his one he did last time, he didn't land at the cleanest. So yeah, if he could get another one of those, I think that would really solidify him. Leonard Neubauer, the Yentl Care is definitely looking a bit out of character. I think he's got in his head a bit. You know, he had a really good start to the heat. But yeah, over the last kind of minute or two, he seems to have crashed a couple of moves. You know, that will potentially affect the confidence a little bit. And mustn't be easy as well. You know, I don't know if he saw the last couple of Lennart's moves, but, you know, that's not going to make it easy watching your competitor stomping moves.
Definitely that's not helpful when you're in that moment. So we are going into the last 1.5 minutes of the heat. We have Leonard leading at the moment. Yeah, let's see.
So nice little upwind burner there from Leonard Neubauer. I'm not sure whether that'll improve on his port tack score, especially given the planing shifty that he did
Yeah.
earlier. But yeah, let's wait and see.
Yeah, I also don't think so. I mean,
Yentl
that
Cares
planing
not having the
shifty
best
was
lead.
just very, very, very unique, and definitely the game changer of this heat for him. That's for sure.
Oh, that's one of the best, and maybe I'd be really interested to see like the full breakdown of all the scores. I mean, that's a lot of work for the guys behind the scenes, but I think that may be like the highest scoring, definitely the highest performance foil style move we've seen. The fact that he just landed it basically, you know, straight back up onto the foil. Heat scores coming in, bit of a change there. So Leonard Neubauer still in the lead, but not by much. Jento Kers 26.75, Leonard Neubauer 30.29. So breaking that 30-point barrier again. So yeah, putting together really impressive. I think with only 20 seconds to go, this has got to be Leonard Neubauer's, hasn't it?
Yeah,
the guard
seems
here
like
potentially.
Seems like it.
And he will go down on a back loop. I mean, that would have definitely sealed the deal. Let's see if Jento's got anything. 4 seconds to go.
And that's
and
it.
He goes down as well.
That's
you
it.
saw the frustration.
Heat is over.
Was that a bit of a punch of the water there from Jento Kers? Bit of frustration. That back loop could have potentially made the difference. But yeah, that will be. Yeah, let's take a look at these. Look at that shifty for Leonard Neubauer coming in at 8.66. The Pasco there for Jento Kers, the Pasco coming at 6.46, and that was the only move that was even within striking distance of that shifty. So yeah, real big change there. Leonard Neubauer, I mean, very deserving. He's been so consistent with how well he's been performing, over this event, but also just in general within windsurfing over the last year. So it's no surprise really to see him, up on that podium. But yeah, really stoked. But also, Jento Kers putting in a really great performance. Perhaps not finding his form today like usual, but there's a reason why he's wearing that yellow jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
I mean,
really great performance.
All right, let's have a look at the recaps a little bit, at the replays, highlights of this battle. All right, yeah, as you said, I mean, Jentl just not finding completely his form. He still pulled off a great show. But as you say, I mean, Leonard completely deserved it. There's just nothing to say about that.
Yeah, 100%. He's been on absolute fire. Just look at that burner. That was really sick. I love those. Like, the whole board does the full rotation. Big shaka there from Jento Kers. Yeah, this Pasco, he just sort of went down at the end. You can see he just got a bit caught up. Yeah, not ideal.
And I mean, to be honest, the guys actually just inverted the roles from last year, But yeah, it's still a long season ahead.
Oh, that shifty was so sick.
Yeah, that shifty was
planing on the foil.
Incredible. That shifty was really incredible. Move of the day so far, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be adding that to my saved videos on Instagram later on. That's another one, Greta, that I'm going to be watching a million times over and over again.
Here we go. I know it. Here we go again. Yeah. It went down on the outside.
And the Kabakuchi from yesterday as well, that was so impressive to see. That's that innovation that we've been talking about, taking, the moves that we didn't think we would see on the foils, and suddenly we're starting to see them shifties, Kabakuchis, air bobs, all these kind of moves that they've been added into the repertoire. It's no wonder that we're doing 3 moves on each side to score now rather than 2. But let's take a look at what we've got coming up next. Tim Gerdes going up against Steven van Broekhoven.
Exactly. We're going into the, as we call it, small final, right? Because we don't like to say losers final, because in the end we're all winners here. So yeah, going into the small final, and it just started. 10 minutes. 10 minutes are on. All right. Steven going off here. Tim answering straight away.
Yeah, nice culo there from Tim. A couple of the guys behind the scenes actually kind of, messaging in the background. Tim's culo in the last heat, he basically landed it like planing, clue first on the foil, which may be a first as well. These guys just showing how much skills they have, with the foils under their boards. Steven with a kono, but kind of goes down at the end. So yeah, not ideal for him. But yeah, hopefully he'll be able to find his feet. But again, having these longer heats does make a real difference when it comes to being able to put those moves in.
Absolutely, completely agree. Do you believe we will see another Kabakuchi from Steven today? I mean, could be.
100%. I mean, he tried one in the previous heat, but just kind of went down. Did that kind of like, it's halfway between a Kabakuchi and a kono. So yeah, I'll be definitely he wants the Kabi again. It was a point of difference yesterday, and like we've been saying, having those points of difference does make a real change to the scores. So yeah, for sure we're going to see at least an attempt this heat. Hopefully a landed one again, and probably only an improvement knowing Steven van Broekhoven. What's he got for us? Definitely lining something up. Oh, sick Pasco.
That one was very nice.
So coming round.
Okay, we're here with Lennart Neuber winning the single elimination of the Foilstyle. Had a bit of a slow start to that heat, but that shifty seemed to give you a lot of momentum. How was it out there for you?
Yeah, I was struggling. I was really doubting if I should do a shifty because I was still missing a lot of moves on both sides. So although I can do it sometimes, it's really difficult in these conditions. So I was in the air. I was like, okay, you have to make this now, and I just landed it almost planed away. I was like, yeah, I guess as you said, it gave me a bit of momentum. And then towards the end, I kind of relaxed a little bit because I realized I was getting nervous and I was getting like more fast paced. So I slowed a bit down and had this upwind burner, which I guess filled in my score sheet. And yeah, I'm very happy with my heat.
Epic. And can you give us a little update on the conditions? Would you say it's still good for Foilstyle, or do you think there's a possibility we start the fin straight away after this?
We could try for sure. I think there would be some cancellations because it's really up and down. Like the gusts are really strong. I think we would have some heats which would have some good action. On the other side, for foiling is also really difficult. You know, it's just gusty, it's strong. I'm on 4.8 now. I could easily be on 4.4. I could be on 5.7 as well when the gust isn't there. But yeah, I guess we could give it a go. I think it's the best chance we have today. And yeah, if it doesn't work, we could just go into the double or do the women's or do the juniors. There's so much we have to still do. You know?
Lots of options. Yeah, we'll wait for the call from the judges and stay tuned.
Really interesting insight there into the conditions out there, and perhaps an explanation the riders are finding it, a bit difficult is the kind of gusty nature of the wind. Lennart saying there that sometimes he could be on 4.4, sometimes he could be 7. So yeah, that'll probably explain it, especially the foiling. Ideally, you want nice, consistent wind, don't you? But hey, we've got to go with the cards that were dealt, and we've definitely seen some moves while that interview was going on. Steven almost looking like he wanted the shifty, but just decided to shaka halfway through. Tim there with a really nice one-handed burner, definitely putting together a nice heat. Steven ducking in regular. What's he got for us? Big culo there. But again, going down. Trying to save it at the end, but yeah, not ideal.
I mean, gusty conditions, let's be honest, that's what nobody likes. You don't know which gear to choose. You have to adapt in the moment, and usually for that right moment you are on the water, then you will never have the right sail size. It's always like this when it's gusty. But hey, the boys are holding up, they're doing their best, and we saw just a big crash of Tim there on the outside. I hope he's okay. Maybe he just got one of those big gusts that Lennart just mentioned. But yeah, very, very interesting to hear it, how it is really on the water. I mean, because obviously we from here can only imagine. So those insights are obviously gold for us. And yeah, I mean, Lennart super happy. And did you hear how he explained that versus the end of the heat, he realized that he's like a little bit stressed, having a too fast pace, and then he kind of slowed down and then actually finished it off with more pace, which then in the end got him the victory.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's impossible to be kind of comfortable and relaxed and get into that flow state when you're in a hurry, when you're in a rush. So yeah, the fact that he was able to kind of slow it down, I think made a big difference. And we saw it in the second half of that heat. He suddenly just switched into a gear. And we've been, all it took was, landing a couple of moves, and then you do start to find that flow state. Tim going down, Skopu there. Let's see what Steven's got for us. Big burner. But again, yeah, going down, these guys are definitely finding it difficult. It was that that first heat, it looked like it was really easy. The guys looked really in tune. But yeah, since then, a lot of the guys have found it difficult to find their form, find their rhythm. But we're still seeing some moves being put down. Like I said, that shifty, there's still some real pearls, some real moments of glory coming through. But yeah, in general, definitely the riders finding it quite difficult.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we can just repeat it in the end. It's all about the landings. I mean, we saw it in tow-in yesterday. Now here in the foil, almost even more. So, yeah, definitely very tricky when you have these strong gusts coming in, and obviously also the choppy water. All right, almost 3.5 more minutes to go. We have Steven leading at the moment with 12.46 points versus Tim with 9.13. I mean, these two guys are actually training a lot together, spending a lot of time together in Brouwersdam, so it's a little bit like a heat between the older and the younger brother. So, yeah, but I'm sure Steven really, really wants that podium.
100%. Yeah, he's been a real inspiration to so many windsurfers out there. But these kind of Brouwersdam young up and comers, like you said, the Three Musketeers. Stephen really kind of looks after them. He lends them gear and everything like that. And it was something I talked to them about in Geneva last year. I got a chance to sit down with him and have a bit of a kind of longer form interview. You can actually find it on the Freestyle Pro Tour YouTube channel. But it was really interesting talking to him about his mindset and about his kind of thoughts about windsurfing, and as he is kind of getting a bit older and things like that, and his approach to it, and he's so much more chilled about everything now, and he's still super competitive, and he's still got that. Look at that back loop, sick one there from Steven Van Brocco, and he goes down. But things he was saying about it is for him now about helping this younger generation and trying to foster that community within the and carry that on. And I think he's such a great ambassador for it because of his attitude towards it. I think it's really great to see.
Definitely. And I mean, as you just said, Steven doesn't need to prove anything to nobody anymore. He's a multiple champ, and I think he's at the moment where, as you say, the challenge or its actual goal is to inspire the youth, help the youth. And I mean, as I say, he's still very competitive. That's obviously why he's here, and he's still performing and just getting better like wine, But for sure, he doesn't need to prove anything anymore to nobody, because he's Steven, and just one of the best freestylers ever.
100%. Yeah, exactly. And, still to be proving that, with this new discipline, I think it's definitely true. It does look like the wind has dropped off a bit. These guys are definitely a bit more up and down than the previous heats. So yeah, I'm not too sure, what the conditions are like out there. But yeah, Steven certainly, I don't know whether he's changed down a size, but you can see there from this angle, there's definite kind of patches of not so much wind, and then the gusts. As we see Tim flying out. Oh, capo, bang! Steven, nice little shaka.
Oh, yes. I mean, I can definitely confirm that there's some, the gusts are on and off, because I can actually feel it also here in the tent, So I think the guys are currently experiencing a little wind lull. Let's see if it will improve for the last minute of their heats. I mean, it would be nice to get some last moves on the table, and there we go. Last 45 seconds of the heat, Steven versus Tim. Nice little shaka there on the outside from Steven in the replay.
And what's he got for us here? Nice burner. Big 541. But yeah, very out of character. Kind of going down like that at the end of the heat. I mean, Tim really not managing to find his form, so I think Steven's basically kind of run away with this. Oh, and Tim goes down.
Oh, goes down for a little catapult here. Damn it. All right, last 14 seconds of the heat. I mean, I believe this one is pretty much locked. Steven Broven in third position here in Vieste versus Tim. I mean, Tim can be very happy about his fourth place as well, obviously, but I'm sure that's not what he really wanted. I mean, the fourth place is always a little bit of a unthankful one, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're very much the bridesmaid, aren't you? Fourth place. You're within striking distance. You're so close to being on that podium. But equally, I think he can definitely come away with this. He's definitely improved so much over the last year. We've been talking about it over the last few days, how important it is not to compare yourself so much to the other riders, whether it's when you're in the heat on the water watching what they're doing, but even off the water as well, and analyzing your performance. I think ultimately if you can look back on the previous event or the same event from the year before and see some improvement, then I think you can definitely be proud. I think Tim has definitely shown that he's definitely improved massively on the Foilstyle compared to last year. So yeah, I think he can definitely be stoked with this. I mean, fourth place, it's still going to set him up nicely for the double elimination. Still be in a good spot.
Exactly. And I mean, you just said a very important thing, I believe. You should never, ever compare yourself to others. We're all so unique. We're all strong in our own ways. We all have our flaws, but comparing is just now it's something that nobody actually needs, and it's not helpful for anybody. So yeah, he just needs to compare himself, like his own position as he was last year and as he was now, and we could see a big improvement from that.
100%. And I couldn't have said it any better as we take a look at some of the replays from here. So all the guys, they were all putting down really nice moves, but just it was the landings. You know, they were flying around, but just kind of struggling with the landings a little bit. I think that made a real difference compared to the previous heats.
Yeah, definitely agree. 100% all about the landings this time, because they all start the move very nicely. And then, yeah, it kind of, the ending was the problem here always. Yeah, definitely it's all about the landings in this heat and actually also the previous one.
100%. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that is it for the single elimination of the Foilstyle here in Vieste. So lining up your, we have Leonard Neubauer in first place, Jento Kers in second, and Steam van Broekhoven in third position. As we see the riders heading back each. Tim cutting it a bit fine there. There is a bit of a sandbar here in Vieste. At times catches people out. You can see it gets shallow very quickly, and you've got to be careful when you've got a big foil underneath your board. But yeah, looking at the conditions there, it does look like it is starting to pick up. You can definitely see there's a bit more wind out the back. As you can see, there is, you know, a few windsurfers out there. One windsurfer on screen now who is not on a foil, and they are flying around. I think you obviously using larger gear, but it may be the case that you know, the judges decide we try and run the fin before going into the double elimination of the Foilstyle. So yeah, you know, it's be up to the judges. As me and Greta always say, I'm glad we're not the judges. We don't have to make decisions. All we get to do is watch the action and talk about what we're seeing. So yeah, very lucky for that. But yeah, you know, the forecast, because the sun has come out, I think the forecast is for it to pick up. But yeah, let's go to Greta, who is on the beach for some interviews.
Steven, congratulations for your third place. Are you happy? How was it out there?
Yeah, it's a surprise. I mean, I think we both didn't really had our we couldn't really show our potential because it's so difficult out there. Yeah, it felt more like a swimming contest. But yeah, I mean, it's extremely difficult. You cannot believe. Yeah, I didn't care about the result. I was just about I need to land something, you know. But anyway, it was for both of us difficult, and yeah, it's difficult. Yeah.
I mean, winning is never easy, but still you got the third place, so that's pretty amazing, I would say. Can you please tell the spectators at home on which gear have you been right now?
I'm on the 4.8. So I think in the gust you're like full on overpowered, and the gust is so short, and then it switches off, and then also the wind, when there's no wind, it also kind of comes from different direction. It's tricky. Big respect for the guys who are ripping, because I don't know, it's difficult.
All right, thank you so much, Steven.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, great to hear from Stephen there. Yeah, bit of a funny interview there, you know, talking about the conditions and how difficult it was. I think calling it a swimming contest, you know, but it is kind of, you know, part of it is you know, you can only do with what you're dealt with, and that's kind of part of the sport. But yeah, great to hear he's kind of taking it in his stride, and you know, cool to hear him giving a big up to all the guys that are sending it out there. You know, the other riders who are putting in the moves. But yeah, you know, still sitting in third place, you know, that's pretty respectable. So we're just waiting for confirmation from the judges, but I think we are going straight into the double elimination, which you can see on screen there. So you can see, I think the first heat we will be running will be Jamie Howard going up against Dudu Levy. The winner of that will go up against George Grisley in the next round. But I think Dudu, you know, he pulled out of the tow-in the other day, which because he had a bit of an injury, but I think he will also be skipping the Foilstyle as well. I think he wants to save it for the fin. So Jamie Howard will get a bye, and he will be going straight through and going up against George Grisley. So the first heat that we'll be running will be Bodie Kempen up against Micah Hooverman. The battle of the Brouwersdam riders, and then yeah, we will go into the next round, which will be George Grisley up against Jamie Howard. Battle of the Brits. Oh, it's all to play for. Greta, which of these matchups? Talk me through it. What are you excited about?
Oh, first of all, I have to say, I mean, it's crazy that all the riders have been struggling so much. I mean, can you believe that? The conditions are super, super tricky out there. And I believe that everybody tuning in from home, it's sometimes difficult to really get how tricky the conditions really are. Because as we just said, from the drone, the water always looks so flat. And obviously the wind, you cannot really see it that good on the screen. But I mean, this is insane that all the riders were saying that it's been very, very difficult. And I mean, they are the very best. So, you know, if they're struggling, imagine you and me, Sandy. Imagine, just saying, huh? So, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting if the riders are going to adjust the gear, what they're going for, actually. I mean, this will be always already a very technical decision as well right now. So it's really, really hard to tell, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as you said, these guys are at the very top of the sport, and if they're finding it difficult, what are we going to find it like? And looking out there, you know, it does look like quite changeable. I think from what they said, you know, it's just the kind of gusts, really. I think the water state is you know, okay. Obviously, you know, we're seeing a few cap holds, but you know, they're up on the foils, and it's definitely nice to have some ramps. But yeah, you know, the gust, the kind of on and off nature of the wind, will definitely be making it a lot harder.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I mean, to be honest, the bay is also filling up now with more people being on the water. Windsurfers also giving it a try on the normal fin, and we see a lot of other water sports enthusiasts. So it's going to be an exciting rest of the day. And to be honest, the forecasts are pretty accurate. I mean, in general, we saw that the forecasts have been pretty accurate during the past days. And I mean, this is exactly what we have been expecting, to be honest. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, taking a look out there, you know, we're seeing people planing around. There's definitely some wind, you know, further out onto the horizon. The water definitely looks a lot darker. And I would say we've got a bit of weather coming our way. So hopefully, hopefully we're going to be able to jump into the fin at some point as well, and get a result for that.
Exactly. And so while we're waiting for that, go ahead, Sandy.
Yeah, no, I think I'm about to say the exact same thing as you. Yeah. So we're having a bit of an announcement. So yeah, the next announcement will be in about 15 minutes, with the first possible start in about half an hour. You know, where they're just deciding which of the fleets that we will be running. It may be the case that we run, you know, some of the youth fleets, or the women's fleet, or if we foil, you know, it does depend on the condition. As well. Pete.
Exactly, and I mean we have to remember that we have the youths and juniors here, so very many very young rippers who are pushing their limits here, competing. Some of them competing for the first time. Some of them we have been seen already on previous events. So it's amazing to have them here with us. And then obviously let's not forget about the girls. Let's not forget about the ladies. Some of the girls we have been seeing already in towing yesterday, in Foilstyle like Maike Hooverman today. But we have some new names on the list, and I'm super excited to see also some fresh faces, young rippers, and that's actually what the mix of people is all about being here. You know, we have like these really big names of the discipline, and then we have the young upcoming talents, new faces, young riders, and I just love that every one of the freestyle community is coming here together and just having a blast, and hopefully we will also get some freestyle later.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to go on to hold. We'll be back in half an hour. Do not go anywhere.